Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Keeping Up with Keith interview series. We have an amazing guest today. She is a fantastic meteorologist, colleague, friend. I'm so happy to talk with her today. She is the meteorologist at Spectrum News 1 SoCal. Today, we are keeping up with Autumn Robertson.
Woo! Yay!
Autumn, thank you so much.
Thanks, Keith. It's great to be here.
Yes, yes. So, first of all, let's just talk about how'd you get the spark for meteorology?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've always been a little bit of a science nerd when I was a kid. There's a couple things. I was not allowed to watch the MTVs, the VETs, the VH1, so I was watching the Weather Channel 24 hours nonstop. And so I found some great meteorologists and people I used to keep up with, Jim Cantori and whatnot. It was very big inspiration. Of course, living in Atlanta, there was a Black meteorologist who was a chief, and it was just so amazing to see her in that position. We've never seen really anything like that in our community. So I think that was kind of an indirect inspiration. Um, Also, one thing at Universal Studios, they had that Twister simulation ride. We
Yes.
waited in line so long for that. My dad and I, we got in there. It freaked me out because it's not for a 4-year-old, okay? And so we left, and then getting older, I was like, "What was I so scared of? What's going on?" And I finally saw Twister, the movie, and you have Helen Hunt's character, a dope female meteorologist,
Hmm.
doing all the big boy things, and I think it was really then where I was like, "Okay, this is exactly what I want to do. I see the inspiration from a lot of different female meteorologists, so let's go ahead and do it," and that's what we did.
Okay, that is amazing. Did you see the reboot to Twister too?
You know what? No, just because the OG is just as fun and exciting as it is, despite all of the all of the, I guess you can say, accuracies in the movie, but it was still great. And I was like, I
Mhm.
don't want the second one to ruin it for me, but one day I'll watch it.
Okay, okay. See, we did the opposite. I saw the reboot. I never saw the original first.
Oh my Keith, you have to see the original. Yes, it's a little dated. It's a little dated, but it's so good. The acting is incredible. And I think you would like it. Yeah, you gotta watch the first one before you see the second.
Okay, okay.
Oh my
I will do
gosh.
that. Okay.
Okay, of
I'll put
course.
that on my to watch list. So,
Yes,
your career, so you went to, well, I guess the winds took you to the University of Miami.
sure did.
Yes, and then you went to Oregon and Medford, and
Uh-huh.
then to Tampa, and now LA. So,
Yes.
how did you, I guess, forecast that?
When you're in the news industry, you can't really forecast anything. You just once again, you just go where the wind blows you. I was applying for a lot of jobs after school. I had a dual major, meteorology and broadcast journalism. So once I got done with that, it was about a year of a gap between trying to figure out what I really wanted to do, and where I wanted to go. When you're a youngin in this industry, you don't really get much of a decision, especially 10 years ago, about where you want to go. You just go where you go. If someone says, we want you to work for us, you better just go and get the job. So it actually took me all the way to Medford, Oregon. I don't think I've ever been to Oregon. I've been to California a few times, but never Oregon, and especially never Southern Oregon. It's very rural. Most people
Mhm.
have never gone unless they've driven up the five, maybe into Portland or maybe to the University of Oregon. It's about 2 hours away from the University of Oregon. That's how rural it is. But we did have an international airport, which was T.
Yeah.
So it wasn't terribly rural, but it was certainly a culture shock, but it was a place that you, of course, have to go and you learn. You do not
Mhm.
get paid anything, but you're there. It's like a graduate school situation. Like, you're there to learn, not
Yes.
necessarily get rich, and then you hope later on down the line you get those better jobs, more experience, and then you can get paid a little bit more. The
Yeah.
medium bucks.
Yes, and then you go to Tampa where you're dealing with hurricanes
Oh
and
my God.
severe thunderstorms and stuff. So tell me, because I think people don't realize, I mean, meteorologists, they save lives. They really do.
Yes, especially I would say Oregon was a very seasonal state. We got all the seasons, winter,
Mhm,
spring, summer, fall, but when it comes to severe weather, it was more of a rarity. We did get all the weather, but it was only a couple of times that a storm ever triggered a severe thunderstorm warning or even a tornado
mhm,
warning. I think there's just one tornado warning I've ever had to deal with in Oregon. By the time I went to Florida during I got there during it was 2019 and in
mhm.
Tampa. So when I got back, extremely busy hurricane season. I had to actually get off of training to track Dorian, Hurricane Dorian, if you remember anything about that. It
Yeah.
was a Category 5 storm. As soon as I get there, they're like, "Okay, we need your help." Officially infiltrating into the team now, tracking Dorian because we were actually in the cone, Tampa was,
Mhm.
before the cone made major shifts. Of course, it just wreaked havoc across the Bahamas. It was a very in that was one of the most interesting storms I ever tracked. But it was that was the intro to my time in Tampa. Can promise you, every month after that, it was always something, you know? So mentally, physically, I was not prepared for the amount of strenuous work that it takes to do weather in Florida, in real time. I only,
Mhm.
did it as a student, as a
Yeah.
student meteorologist in Miami. But in Tampa, it was very active all the time, especially during rainy season and especially during hurricane season. Even outside of rainy season, you still get cold fronts that could bring
Yes.
tornadoes, the whole shebang, straight line winds, flooding concerns. We
Mhm.
had way more tornadoes than I expected.
Yes.
Every time there was a tornado, the community or even people who work there like, wow, we had a lot of tornadoes this year. Yeah, who knew? Like, I guess I had to come and bring the weather. But yeah, it was a complete, I guess you can say a 180 compared to what we deal with here on the West Coast.
Yes. And can you just walk me through? Because I think, when we have those tornado warnings,
Yeah.
automatically have to go on air. What is the process for people who may not know? Like, because they complain, "Hey, you're cutting in through the voice," or, The Big Bang
Ah.
Theory or something, you
The
know?
Big Bang Theory is always The Bachelor or
Yes.
something, like, "We're watching the football game," and it's like we always try to redirect people to streaming because we have to stay on air, but the thing we do is if, and the whole newsroom is usually aware of a day where there's gonna be severe weather, so we break
Mhm.
that down early on throughout the editorial meetings. We may even come in early depending on the type of severe weather situation. We may do a 12 on, 12 off with the weather team. So if somebody was
Yes.
here for 12 hours, you come in handoff, and then you do the next 12. That's usually on a hurricane week, or if we're in a hurricane warning or watch. When it comes to tornado warnings, we're constantly watching the radar. We're babysitting that. And if we see a cell, we let them know, like, hey, we see something offshore. It looks like it might be a water spout. The moment it comes on shore, if it's a tornado, they're going to trigger that and call a warning. So we try to let them know ahead of time. But
Mhm.
in our station in Tampa, we had a weather radio that was so obnoxious, my goodness. But it let us know, "Bam, bam, tornado warning." So everyone knew. If we had the staff, the whole staff there, including directors and everything, they'll
Mhm.
immediately cut in. We'll, get up to the board. We get our graphics ready. If it's just you as a meteorologist, you're doing all that yourself. If you have a team, which usually on severe weather days we do, some days I
Mhm.
did not, but we have a team. Someone is possibly driving the radar, the Max is the computer that we use.
Yes.
It's called Max. WSI Max. They're usually driving it, and someone else is up there, directing and tracking that storm for everybody who is watching to see. And yes, we will cut into programming, and we may double box. We may box you, put the programming down a game at the corner of the screen, but we're going to be up there because lives are protecting lives and keeping people safe is the first priority of a news station in general. If it doesn't involve you, you gotta go and find the game online,
Mhm.
But we used to get a lot of phone calls and stuff like that during severe tornado warning specifically, about why are you covering this? This is our human right.
Yes.
We need to watch The Bachelorette.
Yes.
But like it's like, okay, just hold on. We're not gonna be in here for long, but this is impacting someone's community. And so we need to get up here and let people know what's going on. That's really the main job here
Mhm.
is to be a public servant at the end of the day. So that was kind of the play by play. You have to make sure everybody in the news station knows that, it's a severe weather day. They need to be prepared. And sometimes if it's a long severe weather, maybe a tornado or something like that, that's been on the ground for a while,
Mhm.
or we're seeing a tornado outbreak when there's multiple tornadoes on the ground. We may have the anchors come in and they're going to start to talk about damage. They're going to start to talk about power outages. So they provide a little bit of something for us while we can kind of take a sip of water and maybe get back to the computer and do some more forecasting, do some more tracking, look at the National Weather Service. We're talking with them, they're talking with us as well in the chat. So it's a very adrenaline kind of high adrenaline situation. And you're trying to get the information out as professionally and as smooth and as clear and concise as possible. So that's kind of the workflow there.
No, I know, absolutely. No, that's a very detailed because people just don't know, and I'm like, you rather be alive than dead because you wanted to watch The Bachelor, you know?
You know? And the thing is, unfortunately, without the public servants of the news station, someone cutting
Mhm.
in, when that's not the case, lives unfortunately are lost or people get injured. Sometimes they just
Mhm.
don't know,
Yes.
in time. So getting on there in time, maybe 10 to 30 minutes,
Mhm.
out once they pull that tornado warning,
Yes.
people can react and then they can get to safety or get to their safe place.
Mhm.
So we have to do it. We don't want to because we don't want those comments. We don't want those emails because they
Mhm.
people get very nasty. It's just a part of the job. We got to do it. And a lot of people, and more than not, a lot of people do appreciate it and they understand. There's always just that handful of people who are mean and nasty about it. So can't really pay attention to them. They're gonna forget about it in 30 minutes anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes. Mhm. No,
But more
exactly.
people appreciate it than they don't.
And yes, and I bet that experience covering all that weather in Tampa prepared you for what we dealt with in LA. I mean, yes, we have
Yeah.
microclimates, but we had again those historic the firestorm last year in 2025
Yeah.
of the Palisades and Eaton fires. So what was that experience like you covering on air? Because I felt like you have to do that service announcement, but also be a scientist at the same time to explain what is going on.
Yeah, it's what was unfortunate about that is the pit in your stomach that you feel knowing that you can't really do anything about it. A
Mhm.
tornado warning compared to a windstorm,
Yes.
and a fire within a windstorm, right? There's two totally different things. With tornado warning, you can outrun a tornado warning. You can hide from that, and it only lasts for a couple of seconds realistically if a tornado passes over your home. A
Mhm.
firestorm, and in this case, the Eaton fire, the Palisades fire, with the winds exceeding 80 miles per hour,
Yes.
no air support because the winds were so strong. There's really nothing you can do as a meteorologist. There's no instructions there that you can say, go here, go there. It's just evacuate. And it happened so fast. And you didn't know when or where it was going to happen. We just knew
Mhm.
that it was going to be a situation for about a week out. Looking at
Yes.
the model runs for about a week out, we saw this is a interesting situation, a positively tilted trough moving into SoCal. The winds looked insane about 7 days out. And
Mhm.
for model consensus to agree for 7 days out, we knew
Yes.
that it was going to be a bad situation. We knew that that was not going to change. We just did not know when and where those fires were going to happen. We knew that the ground was parched. We knew
Mhm.
that we had 2 impactful rainy seasons, over 20 inches in the last 2 years.
Yes.
And that's a lot for us, obviously. So we have all the fuels, and then we've had the lack of rain, and now you have this big windstorm. And this was the third time we've had the potentially dangerous situation or particularly dangerous situation
Yes.
issued by the National Weather Service for the
PDS.
season. And even with those events, we've had a fire break out with each PDS. This time around with the winds, we knew that there was going to be a fire. We knew it was going to be bad. You just don't
Mhm.
know when, you just don't know where. And that's really the extent you can do as a meteorologist. Try to try to protect people. You try to, prep people ahead of time, and we hope people understood that you need to have preps ready to go. You need to have a bag, you need to have this, you need to have that. And the best case scenario is that nothing happens. You just
Mhm.
are prepared. But the worst case is what we saw. And it was a very awful situation to have to watch out and feeling like as a forecaster, there's not much else you can do
Mhm.
except let people know the conditions and whatnot and what's going on and when the winds will die down. That was really the biggest thing. Like, when is it
Mhm.
going to end? When is it going to stop? I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I don't
Yes.
think any of us did.
No,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, just like even places you would not think would get fires,
Mm,
they were close to getting fires.
yes.
And just, for context, again, yeah, we know the winds and stuff, but we know now that both of those fires were man-made.
Hmm.
The Palisades was well, accused,
Yeah.
by an alleged fire starter, and as with the Eaton fire, it was a power line.
Hmm.
And so, as you know, we can't protect that, we just have to go I mean, you're in the situation,
Mhm.
dealing with what is happening right now.
Yeah, very unfortunate. You just didn't
Yes.
really know what was going to cause the fire, but you knew that there was gonna be a fire. You just didn't know, once again, when or where or what the case would be. You hope that people would be fire wise, making sure that, they're not doing anything crazy with,
Mhm.
maybe lawn equipment or with
Mhm.
their cars. I've been forecasting on the West Coast for quite a bit. Even when I was living in Oregon, we had an insane fire season
Yes.
each year I lived there. And you learn so much. I was also covering Northern California at the time too.
Mhm.
You learn how fires start, and it could just be the most random situations, or it could be an
Mhm.
arson. But, if you own a car and the car breaks down, there's a spark and it starts to fire, then now
Mhm.
you're in charge of starting that fire, even if it is unintentional. So you learn, after seeing dozens of fires and covering those before I even got here, you just know how easy it is, especially with the topography that we have for human induced fire to start. And it's just a very unfortunate situation.
Yes, and how did you take care of your mental health? I mean, because I know for myself when these fires are happening, I was like, I know those places. Like, I've been there. I walked
Hmm.
those streets, those
Yeah.
sidewalks. I've been to
Hmm.
businesses in those communities, and I was like trying to process, like, this is where I spent because like I had a portion of my family in Altadena, and I always went there for parties and stuff. And now it's not the same
It's
anymore.
not the same. It will not be the same as well, Altadena or the Palisades, especially
Yes.
Altadena, where there's so much history laced in the community,
Yes.
especially when you talk about redlining and you talk about the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
And how Black people, they own equity in those homes, and that
Yes.
was really the American dream for a lot of us people, Black people specifically, and people of
Yes.
color, in a place like SoCal, where there is so much affluence around us. And to
Mhm.
see that take place in real time, to
Mhm.
see anybody lose their homes, um, in real time in a way where you feel like there's nothing you can do. I think it was a delayed reaction because you're so into trying to keep people safe, forecasting this
Yes.
storm. So you have to be, focused. It was when I got home and I finally got into my room, I have to say, that Saturday, I believe it was Saturday, and after a week of covering these fires, I stayed in the bed all day. I stayed in the bed and I mourned. I mourned the lives lost. I mourned the property lost. I mourned the dream that was lost for a lot of these people who did everything that they could in order to own a piece of something. But I was also forgiving with myself as well. I was
Mhm.
graceful with myself because it's something difficult to ingest. So I knew that, of course, it's okay to feel these emotions. So feeling it is one thing. It helped mentally because if I were to just stuff it down and forget, then it would probably have been maybe a longer healing process. Mind
Yeah.
you, I did not lose my home. I didn't lose anything in the fires.
Yeah.
But, to feel it, I'm kind of an empathetic person, so to just
Yes.
I felt it, it felt heavy, it's a lot of heaviness.
Yes.
Also, mentally, I had to get out there to the community and help, so I tried to volunteer as much as I could,
Mhm.
and try to talk to the people, as much as I could, to kind of make it a bit more tangible, the process more tangible. But that really was it. I had to just rest. Resting is, it's in the Bible. It's
Yes.
it's a faith thing, Sometimes you work, you work, you work, and then it's okay to rest. It's okay to regroup because we have to get back to work on Monday and we're still covering these fires. So resting, taking care of the community, or at least reaching out and doing outreach with the community. And just being mindful and graceful with myself that it's okay to feel these feelings. I think that really helped, especially the weekend following January.
Yes. No, absolutely. Besides January 7th, I mean, has there been any so you've been working in LA for, I wanna say 4 years, right? Or
Almost
more?
4, yeah, almost
Okay.
4,
4
yeah.
years. So has there been any moments from the community that stand out to you? Because 'Cause I'll tell you, my family loves you. When they
And I
turn on
love you guys.
when they they said, "I love that black girl on Channel 1." I'm like,
And that's the wonderful thing about the community too. Just to be honest, I never, within the last 8 to 10 years of my career, I never really
mhm,
felt like I was at home. I knew that LA would be different. I didn't know that it would be such an accepting place. At least for me, I feel at home here, and it's nice to feel like you have a community that likes you and also supports you. And I love you guys, and I support you guys. I just feel really connected to Southern California, and so I think that really is the best part. We forecast all these storms, and I mean, the 4 years I've been here. As soon as
Mhm.
I got here, my goodness, we were tracking a tropical storm, then we tracked an actual hurricane, my goodness. That when we looked back at it, they kinda downgraded it back to a tropical storm, but even
Mhm.
that was, like, a
Yeah.
headline that was like, "That's unprecedented," you know?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, all these unprecedented situations. I don't know why I'm here for it, but it was a reason, you know. There
Mhm.
was a significant flooding that occurred, mudslides, which you get every single year, obviously. But we've had some impactful rainy seasons that, of course, led to the fire season. So it has been more than what I would expect, and more than a lot of people expect when I got this job. And they're like, "Oh, you're about to be coasting. Everything's about to be easy for you. You're going to LA." As soon as I get here, I was like, "My God, it's some y'all got some weather up in here, huh?"
Ye
It has been a very but you know, beneficial at the same time.
Mhm.
It's been such a treat to be able to help people through these situations as well, whether they are, you know, more impactful than others, like these, you know, major winter storms that we've had. Oh my gosh, we had snow in LA proper. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm telling you, as soon as I got here, it was like the skies opened up. We're like,
Yeah.
all right, let's give SoCal everything. Autumn's here now, you know. But
Yes.
that was so much fun, you know, just being able to have all the experience of coming here, and it just felt like everything is finally, you know, coming to fruition, and it's been good so far, and it's been a lot of fun, and we pretty much have tracked everything from tornadoes to hurricanes.
Yes, I know. I'm just like, "Wow, okay."
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
We're becoming a girl, I see.
Yeah, right. She wants a little bit of attention.
Yes.
She was like, "I want mother too. I'm active."
Yes. Yes. And I just wanna know for you, how does it feel for you to be one of the handful of Black meteorologists, I mean, Black female meteorologists? I can only
Yeah.
count because I know it's just Melissa at NBC and Star at Fox. If I'm forgetting someone, I
Yes,
don't
I actually brought up Markina Brown.
like
I didn't bring up her name, but she was the first one of the first. I'm not sure if she was the first Black chief meteorologist in Atlanta. So she was one of the first people I saw. We saw her on a billboard, and I was like, "Who is that?" And then we will watch her, you know, at night at 11 o'clock, and
Mhm.
I just thought that she was just so classy and so intelligent. And she had a way of conveying information that made us understand it. And she now works here. She is in LA. I think she's at Fox now.
Okay.
So for us, that many Black meteorologists just to be in LA, wow,
Mhm.
like that is such a treat. It's a blessing to be amongst a lot of women who have made history and who are just so simply fabulous doing it as well. Do you see the girls? They're just killing it with the hair and the fashions, but
Yeah.
also intelligent women. You know, you can't say that they just dress up and do the job. No, they know exactly what they're doing and they do it very well. So I love to
Yes.
be a part, I guess you could say, of that class of women. And just even throughout my time, I was the only in pretty much every market. I was the only Black girl, period, in
Yes.
Medford, Oregon when I first got there in my
Mhm.
market. All the stations, I was just that one. And then when I
Mhm.
got to Tampa, there were more Black people, but there weren't any Black meteorologists. So it was just
Mhm.
me out of men and women until we've had someone else come to another station later on. I was like, okay, I got some company now.
Yeah.
So I'm very used to being the only one, especially in the particular market or the particular
Mhm.
shop. And it's just very great to see that there are a lot more Black women out there who are getting into it and that some doors are opening. And also just nice to hear from the community, young women saying, I'm inspired. This is what I want to do. Because a lot of people don't even know how to get into it.
Yeah.
One of the first things I hear when I talk to students, when I talk to, you know, just people in the community, how did you get into it? Like, what did you do? How did you know? And I was like, oh, I went to school for meteorology. Like, that's a thing? Yes, it's a thing. It's a 4 year, it's a 4 year
Yes.
program, just like accounting or just like, you know, biology or anything else.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people just don't know. They don't have the exposure. You
Mhm.
know, they're not exposed to it in school. They don't see people doing it. They don't think that that's something they can do. So
Mhm.
now that, you know, I'm in this position, hopefully it's a bit inspiring that we see more Black women, women of color, women in general get into
Mhm.
more STEM based programs,
Yes.
and especially in an environment where we are seeing those programs, you know, just kind of be attacked. People saying that it's not really worth the time, worth the
Mhm.
energy. It's still very much worth the time and energy. The climate is changing. Everything is changing before us. So we do need more of us in these fields for sure. And I hope it continues to grow.
Exactly, exactly, and actually, there are schools in California for meteorology. People don't know that. I mean, my alma mater, San Jose State people don't know this. I was a meteorology major at first, I was.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, but you got back into
I
it.
got back in well, during that time, I went to school during the recession. I was like, "Okay, I wanna get out in 4 years because I was a double major in meteorology and journalism, and I thought, "Oh"
Same.
so I was like, "Okay, let me get out."
Yes.
But in 4 years
I feel you. The amount of times where I was just like, I just have 3 more years left. Ooh, I got 2 more years up. Meteorology is no joke. It's a very tough
Yes.
field, you know? A lot of people don't realize that until they get into it. They're like, "What is this math, honey? What is this physics, honey?"
Yes.
Like, even the first classes, it feels like
Yes.
they're weaning you out because they're so difficult.
Mhm.
Even though there's 7 of you in the class, who are we weaning out, you know?
Yes.
So it's like you're looking around like, what are we trying to make this hard for, you know? But it is difficult. A lot of people don't realize that. But if you stick in, you've got the stick into itness of it,
Yes.
then, and it's sometimes you just got to get out and then get back in. It's okay,
Well, Autumn, the
it's
gag
fine.
is that after I graduated, I went straight into meteorology school, like, 2 months after.
See? Period.
That's the
We,
gag of it all, to be honest. I'm like
yeah. It's like, "Okay, wait, maybe I do wanna finish this up," and you did. So,
yes.
lovely,
Yes,
there's
yes.
multiple paths, right? Like, a lot of people do the certificate program and,
Mhm.
it's a 3-year program instead of a 4. You can get in it in multiple ways now, and yeah, like state schools here in California, there
Yes.
are programs. You just gotta do a little more research before you apply for
Yes.
schools, but the programs are here, and they would love to have more people in those programs, I'm sure. My program was very small.
Yes.
But I also went to a private school, so of course it was gonna be small compared to like a
Mhm.
FSU that has a more an older program. It's more desirable to a lot of people because they know about it. A lot of people just
Yes.
don't know about these programs, so you gotta do that research
Yes,
and
yes.
just stay in it, guys. It's only 4 years. It's gonna be the
Yes.
hardest 4 years of your life, but it's
Yes.
just 4 years.
Yes, yes, and I know the math is hard, believe me. I
The
know
math is hard. You don't want you Key, you don't understand how many math classes I've done failed. Mind you, I was in a math honor society in high school. I was very much into math. Math was it for me. I loved it. I got to college. I was like, what is this?
Mhm,
Honey,
mhm.
what is that? This is another language. Is this
Yeah.
real? But you just gotta get through it.
Yes, yes, and I just for an anecdote, because like, you know Samara Theodore, and, like,
I do.
yes, and, like, and now I know and she's very public about this in her stories that, our professor told her, "Just quit meteorology, you're
I
not,
had a
like, the math is not
yep,
mapping for her," and she's like, "You know what? I'm gonna prove you wrong," and
yep,
she did, and she's at Network, so I'm just saying that
yes.
that is the story.
She's fabulous, and I actually had a chemistry professor pull me to his office like, "So why are you doing this? What's the point?" Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm.
It was very like, "What you mean, why am I doing this?" Like, "What do you mean?" He was a chemistry professor turned advisor,
Mhm.
because my old advisor ended up going to another position. My meteorology advisor was like, "Why are you doing this?" Kind of like in a disgusted way. I was like, "What do you mean, why am I doing this? I might be struggling in your class a little bit. I got a B, like, it's fine, but what
Yes.
do you mean?" It's kind of like he was just like, "Why are you wasting your time in this?"
Mhm, mhm.
But I'm like, "Why wasting time? Why I would" it was just a weird kinda conversation, almost like he wanted to put me down and make me reconsider. Mind you,
Yeah.
I was maybe a year and a half away from graduating. I'm like, You know what? Just because of that, was that reverse psychology? Because it worked. Because now I'm gonna graduate, and
Yes.
I'm gonna finish this, and then I will do this as a job." And it happened. So, I don't know what the point is of discouraging students,
Yes.
especially young Black women students, from pursuing careers, um, that may be difficult, but we can do it. It may be a bit hard for some of us, black or white.
Yes.
And if you want to, drop out, then cool, or do something else, then cool. You have the right to do that. But
Yes.
discouraging kids, like, why do you want to do? Why? Did you say that to anybody else? No, just
Yeah.
me. Okay,
Exactly.
interesting. Watch me. You know, kind of how it is. You just got to do it.
Exactly. And what advice do you give to, I guess, aspiring meteorologists today? Because I would say the game has changed a little bit. I see students are now going into mid-sized markets after college now.
Yes, the process is worth it. I will say that. Jumping, for instance, I went from market 140 something in Oregon to 11 in Tampa. That was a huge jump. I don't really have many regrets because I'm fine now. I lived and I learned the things.
Yeah.
However, that mid-market, ooh, it would have really prepped me and primed me for a top market like Tampa. And it's because usually in these mid-markets, you're getting that severe weather experience. And you're still kind of at the bottom of the totem pole as well. This is about 10 years ago, and the landscape has changed significantly since then, obviously, but you are getting that experience. You are going on often, a lot, doing severe weather coverage to the point where it becomes autopilot. When I got to Tampa, it was difficult at times to, you can look at the radar, you can see all the things. This is a textbook hook, this is that, you see the rotation, but getting up there for 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes 2 hours at a time, and it's just you, that's difficult to do. And I do wish I would have had a bit more experience. So that's all to say, yes, it is inviting to go to market 40 right after college. It is. But if that is what your path is, make sure that you are taking time to study, to practice as well. There's severe weather going on in Arkansas and you are in Maryland. You need to be looking at that radar during your off time and doing it out loud at the screen, at the board, wherever, just practicing, the redundancy of what that's going to be so that when it's go time for you, it's already autopilot. I wish I would have had that practice and experience. You usually get that in those smaller markets, which is why another thing about the landscape of where we are in the
Mhm.
industry, a lot of kids, they don't find it desirable, and who does, going to a small market where you're not going to get paid a living wage. A lot of
Yes.
people who are able to do that have support from their families, you know what I mean? So it's more enticing when you see a salary for maybe 45, 50 in a
Mhm.
market 30 or 40 compared to I was getting paid 25 in Oregon, and I was on the high end because I had a meteorology degree compared to a 25, which you can't get anything with 25. I had 2 roommates. I was still, paycheck to paycheck, barely scraping pennies together, So it's not enticing, but you learn. Like I said, it's like a grad school. You have to learn before you get to those big dogs, and then you're going to feel more comfortable and more confident as well. You have to build up your confidence too. That's not natural or normal. That's not arrogance. It's confidence in what you're looking at, what you're seeing, and what you're conveying to the viewer. So I would say either practice or just trust the process. Take that smaller job, maybe for a year, It doesn't have to be 3 years so that you can really learn the ropes so that now when you go to DC, you got it. You're good to go and no one's even questioning your abilities.
Yes, no, absolutely. And also, I want to touch on one thing before we wrap this up because you school the trolls. I see you on Instagram.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the trolls? Because I would say meteorologists get the brunt of it. I say, especially female and women of color.
Yes, we do. We do. We're a target. I was a target when I was in Oregon. Once again, I was the only black girl in the whole
Hmm.
market for about a couple of months before they hired some more. It was like, "Ooh, she's different." I would get it every single day. And they'll find my personal and private, social media pages. I always had, professional ones if people want to contact me, but they'll find the private ones just to
Yes.
cuss me out, just to call me disgusting, call me, racial slurs. I've been called all types of slurs, honey.
Wow.
I do not, I'm not saying that's normal or that you should expect that. That's just something that I had to deal with. I think it just built me up a little bit. I hate
Hmm.
to say it, but it did. And, it was to a point where, yes, that was harassment and that was not okay. But even as I got to my other higher markets, you just build up a thicker skin and you just realize those people, you're triggering an insecurity of theirs. So most of the time I ignore it at this point because it's not even worth giving them the attention that they're seeking. But sometimes I'll play along, and make a life lesson about it if I choose to share it.
Hmm.
Because I'm not the type that goes and argues back and forth with you. Like, you're never gonna get that from me. I may play
Hmm.
along, but if you write some wordy tweet to me that is about 3 paragraphs long, I'll just quote tweet it, "Ooh, new fan alert," like, just it's like you gotta troll them back sometimes, or
Hmm.
you just ignore it, or you make a, like, lesson about it, and then, the comments that come after that is whatever the case may be. But you just realize that you're triggering an insecurity from them, whether, they're not used to seeing a black woman on TV who looks like you, talks like you, has hair like yours, you don't fit the bill,
Hmm.
it makes them feel weird, and so they have to transfer that energy to you, but that is a law, a law of thermodynamics, right? Energy is not created, is not destroyed, it's just transferred. You don't have
Hmm.
to accept that though. None at all. So lately I just don't accept it. I just kind of ignore it and go about my way because, I'm just not like what who are you? You're not gonna you're
Yes.
not, you're not Oprah, talking about my 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 professionalism. You're not
Mhm.
who's the lady from Vogue? You're not her talking about
Anna
my
Wintour.
clothes. You're not Anna Wintour, baby. You're not. And I know that. And so I'm just gonna mute you and move on. It's just not that big of a deal anymore. You can't let it get to you because you know it's all fake. So you just gotta go on and just deal with it. But I dealt with a lot of it early on. I think that
Mhm.
kind of just prepped me for more that's is always gonna come at you. You just gotta just choose what you do with it. Are you gonna accept that energy and absorb it, or are you just gonna block it and move on?
Exactly. Good advice, good advice. And so, Autumn, what are you keeping up on? What are you keeping up on today?
Does it have to be weather-wise?
No, it doesn't have to be whatever.
Okay,
Up interest music.
let me tell you something. I am a reality TV snob. I hate to say it, but I am. I love Bravo shows. There's a little bit of drama going on, the show called Summer House.
Yes,
And it
yes.
is it is great, fantastic drama. That's another thing when you talked about what I do with my mental health. I watch reality TV because guess what's less chaotic than a tornado warning, or what's more chaotic than a tornado warning? Reality TV.
Mhm,
They're
mhm,
just going back and forth, and it's just comforting to me.
mhm.
So that's what I'm keeping up on. Every time I go home, I just turn on Bravo and I just get to watch it. And keeping up on some of the new eats. I know you're a Long Beach boy. There's some great food places I want to try in Long Beach. I have a
Yes.
Google map full of green flags that, those are places I want to go eat at. So
Mhm.
I love food. I love to travel and do all the things, especially around SoCal and exploring more of what SoCal has to offer because it's so diverse and wonderful. And I can't wait to explore some more. That's the best part of living here and moving into a new area. So that's what I'm keeping up with my reality TV and my food.
Okay,
Yes,
okay, yes, and we can have a whole separate conversation on the
I
Amanda
know.
West and Ciara drama.
I can't, Keith. I can't.
Did you listen to the leaks of the audio I mean,
I
I'm sorry,
listened to
Bob, but
one. No,
what?
I listened to one. I listened to one. I was like, should I listen to all or should I wait?
I listened to all 3
Because
of
it
them,
was
so
good. You did? You did?
yes, I did.
It got me. I was like, and
Well,
who's the
Bravo has
leaker?
the great editors, and I'm just like, "You know what?
Yes.
Let me just see the
Yes, they
unfiltered
do. They
version."
they j they definitely do, and you never know what's real, because they like to chop things up a little bit. I do you've inspired me. I think I need to go and listen to all of them before we get the edited version, in a couple weeks when this reunion comes out, because whatever
Yeah.
I heard, I was like, "Oh my goodness."
Yes, yes, exactly. And so before we wrap this up, I just wanna say, Autumn, thank you so much for
Thank you.
being a guest today. So I want to know for Autumn, so the question is, who is Autumn Robertson now? Who is Autumn Robertson now?
Oh my gosh, now I think she is what she was before, but she's still passionate about weather, passionate about equity and equality in the sciences and in this industry as well. I'm
Mhm.
passionate about the truth. I'm passionate about facts and science and all the things that connect us and make this world the place that it is. I'm all for that. And Autumn now is more confident. She's less triggered by those comments and those concerns and the calls and the mail and all of that. She is just 2.0. She's the same girl. The hair is bigger and the personality is even better than it was before. And mentally, she's a better girl as well. A little happier. And I think it's because of this doggone wonderful weather. It's cloudy today a little bit. And if people get dramatic, it's like, oh my God, it's clouds. I'm like, from Georgia. This is fantastic. I wake up happy every day. Like, look, you hear the birds chirping. I have hummingbirds. That's hummingbirds near my little patio. It's fantastic. So that's who she is. She's a happy girl. She is a confident girl and advocates for everything that is right and everything that is purposeful for this world. That's who she is.
I love that. I love that, Autumn. And that is who Autumn Robertson is, everybody.
Yay. Bow, 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 bow.
That is great. Okay, anything else you wanna add before we wrap this up?
No, you can always watch Spectrum News One. We're actually, I don't know if you noticed, we're expanding. So we're expanding throughout the entire state.
Yes.
We're doing an expansion. So now you can not just see us here in SoCal, you'll be able to see us in Northern California, some of my actually old stopping grounds in the Chino Redding area. You'll be able to see us. And our wonderful Sarah Pila, she's going to be doing a lot of that forecasting for up there, Bay Area as well. You'll be able to see us. So we are expanding. You'll be able to see our faces even more. So tune in for that and stay up to date. Do not look at your weather apps all the time. Find a real meteorologist, a real person, turn on the news sometimes and watch and get your information from trusted journalists and scientists. Please, in this
Yes.
day and age, please, honey. Okay?
And no, exactly, exactly. And where can my audience follow you at?
You can follow me at Autumn A. Robertson. That's on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. I rarely use TikTok, but it's Weather with Autumn. And child Twitter, I just ignore that. Facebook, Autumn Robertson. Twitter is just a different landscape now. I barely
Okay.
even use it. I try to get information from there, but I rarely tweet. But you can find me. Threads, yes. Actually, I just deleted the app from my phone, but I still have an account. It's the same as my Instagram, Autumn A.
You
Robertson.
need to go on Threads. There's a huge pop in Black community on Threads.
I
Like,
know, and I had to delete it because it was getting overwhelming a little bit. I deleted it yesterday, so I was like, "I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take a break," because it gets to the point where I'm, like, opening threads all the time I'm like, "Oh, no, this is turning into old Twitter," you
oh,
know? I'm getting addicted. I'm getting a little addicted. Let me just take a break, and then I think maybe this weekend we can redownload it and reassess. But
okay, okay.
yes.
No, that is smart. Everything you said, I love it. Smart. And don't forget, you could catch my forecast on Metro every Friday.
Yes! The meteorologist!
Yes.
I love that. No, I genuinely love how you rebranded and you like have this amazing job. It's just like awesome to see. And yeah, go Metro.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And ride the D next week, May 8th.
Yes, May 8th. Yes. Period.
Yes, yes. Okay, well, Autumn, thank you so much. And remember, you can follow me on all my social channels at Keeping Up with Keith. Okay, Autumn, thank you so much. And everyone have a great day.
Thanks, Keith.